Okay, today we're doing two-sum. This is one of the most fundamental LeetCode questions there is. It's rated easy, and this is probably a question that is asked almost in every interview. You can see that there's 2,600 people currently doing this question. So let's get into it because it's pretty straightforward. Essentially, you're given a list called nums, and in this list you have a bunch of integers. You're then given a target, which is in the form of an int, and simply this target is what you want to it needs to be the result of the sum of two numbers. Okay, so for this 9 we need to check within the list of nums which two numbers when added together result in that 9. So how do you do this? You're basically going to need to be checking two things at the same time. You're going to be checking the number that you're currently at, and then you're going to ask, what number that I'm currently at, what do I need to add to this number in order for it to be the target? So we can do this by first creating an empty dictionary. So let's just call this temporary. And this is what we're going to store the list values of. Because the goal is to go through each list, and if the number that we're at, if we haven't found the number that when added gives us the target, we're just going to simply add it to our dictionary because it might come in handy later. So we're going to create the dictionary. We're just going to call it temp, and now we're going to loop through the list. So for I n enumerate nums, and what enumerate does is essentially creates like a dictionary. So you have, let's just say I in this position is going to be at 0, so it could even be a letter A at position 0, or for example B at position 1. So it takes whatever is an I and it stores it in that value. It stores the value. So actually this would be the opposite. It'd be 0, this would be A, this would be 1, and this would be B, and so on and so forth. It's basically just going to plot two things at the same time. So for I and n, we're going to enumerate. And now we're going to create a way to ask the question, if the current number that we're on, what number plus that equals the target? So we need the difference between the target and the number we're at. So let's just call that a difference. The difference is going to equal to target minus the current number we're at. So whatever this value of this target is needs to be the number that when added together with the number we're at, if the target is 9, we need a 7, right? 7 plus 2, so this is a 2, and this is a 7. So target, right? Like in this case, target minus 2 is 7. So we need to check in the list if we have a 7. On this first iteration loop, it would return 0 because our dictionary is empty. Now, this is why we have to store each number, because when we go to 7, 7 is going to do target minus n, and it's going to get a 2. Now, our temp dictionary, we're going to ask the question, if diff is in our dictionary, temp, we're going to return that exact position, and we're going to return the indices, right? So we're going to return back just a list, and it's going to return I, and it's going to return the exact number that we need at this position. So temp diff. Otherwise, if it's not in there, we're simply just going to add it back to our temp. And how we're going to do that is we're going to just iterate that the current value we're at is equal to I. We're just adding it to our dictionary. And if not, we're going to just return none. So this is a super simple program. What did I do wrong for I? Oops, I missed the little n. Very choppy. This should work. So in all cases, it's going to work.